Welcome to AMHQ Early. It is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016. I'm meteorologist Jen Carfagno. Steve shared that video on Facebook with me of his reaction to the hail and the wind and the rain in New Jersey. A lot of you are going to be having that same reaction today as we track storms with a severe threat from the Dakotas all the way to D.C. We've got 60 million people at risk right through tomorrow. So we'll get you out the door with the weather you need to get time. Summertime thunderstorms, they do have that potential for a lot of rain. Lightning is going to be another concern. But today, the storms are going to kick it up a notch. We've got that risk for severe weather, strong, damaging winds. We're concerned about a long-lived cluster of thunderstorms with wind damage that is going to move through parts in the Midwest into the Ohio Valley. So it's a fairly large red zone, and I have to say it's going to come in several waves today. Just because you get one round of thunderstorms doesn't mean you're going to be done with storms today. So we want to time it out. That's one of the most important things we can do is time out your storms and tell you all the risks. So it's wind damage, and it's actually a tornado risk. Milwaukee, Chicago, Indianapolis. 6 for you in Chicago, Milwaukee, a 4 in Indianapolis. Look at the timing here. We've got this evening and then continuing overnight is the timing for storms that may be tornadic. But you actually have some storms not too far away this morning, Chicago, so we're going to track it all. Watching right now as we see the setup there, the low pressure moving through Iowa, the warm front extending right through Illinois and Indiana. Got lots of strong winds coming up here from the south at the surface, bringing back the moisture. You had a brief break yesterday in the Midwest from that, but it's coming back in a hurry. And you've got the turning of the winds, which will also mean that you have that risk for supercell thunderstorms and rotating thunderstorms. So right now you can see Chicago. Again, for now we're still doing fine this morning. We got these storms, though, with severe thunderstorm warnings that just came up not too far from Peoria in Illinois. Some flash flooding is a concern in parts of Iowa. And you can see the storms lining up here back into parts of South Dakota as well. As expected, we're going to see some severe weather early today. There's probably going to be another cluster about midday, and then this evening I think will be some of the worst storms. Look at that timing. This 2-3 o'clock, we watch this cluster and then moving from, say, Indiana into Ohio, then to West Virginia. But then take a look. There's still another one yet to come, and we're going to be watching that moving through Wisconsin, eventually tracking into Illinois. We're going to see storms line up right along that warm front. Clusters of storms moving right along it with the potential for damaging winds. We see that through Ohio into perhaps western Pennsylvania, but certainly West Virginia. Watching you as well, and eventually Virginia through the overnight. Look at the timing here. We're going to see until tomorrow morning still tracking these storms. So looking at the pattern, I'll tell you what, this is a pretty active jet stream, and we get these little dips that come in, and that helps kick off showers and thunderstorms. Overall, the pattern across the country is a big ridge, but if you're underneath that jet stream, that's where the storm track will be. So fast forward to the weekend. We're talking Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There'll be another low that we track, bringing up the moisture back into Minnesota. Sort of all or nothing, right? Over the weekend, we had dew points in the 70s, and then they dropped into the 40s, and it was great. We're going to certainly bring those dew points back up again and bring back the chance of storms as we get you here into the weekend. Saturday night, Minneapolis, that's you. We move it into Wisconsin again. Again, this is the weekend weather. I know some of these very spots are going to see severe weather today, but we're going to look ahead to the weekend, looking at Milwaukee and Chicago and Indianapolis and St. Louis, all for the risk of thunderstorms here on Sunday. It's certainly too soon, I think, to say how widespread the severe weather will be, but there's a chance for that this weekend. Speaking of the weekend, let's get you there. Weekend in view time. Hey, it's Wednesday. It is hump day, and you are maybe planning your weekend. I know we got a lot of weather to talk about today with the severe weather outbreak that we are expecting right here from the Midwest into the Ohio Valley, extending overnight and continuing through tomorrow into the Mid-Atlantic. Boston is one spot, actually, that's going to miss all of that. It's all going to be south of you, and we see some good weather for you getting into Friday. Temperatures in the 80s. The heat expands, that bubble of heat getting into the southeast. 90s, mid-90s for you around Atlanta with a chance for some scattered showers and storms right through the southeast on Saturday. But of course, the best chance for severe weather will be near that low and near that front as we track that system from, say, Minnesota into Michigan as we get into Sunday. Southeast pop-up showers and storms this weekend. Same thing for you into spots in Texas, the west. We're not going to be as hot as we just saw, but certainly temperatures are going to be elevated. Now, straight ahead, a look at where storms will slow down your commute to and from work across the Midwest. Plus, you always have that because despite any active weather that we have today, I know you still want to plan your weekend. It is vacation season, it is travel season, it is road trip season. We have thunderstorms today to track. It's continuing overnight and tomorrow right into the Mid-Atlantic. The heat remains a big story. The Southwest not really getting much of a break. We take a look at that heat expanding right here through the south central plains into the southeast. I was watching Jacksonville's forecast. You know, without any rain in our forecast, it gets very hot, and we're going to get awfully close to 100 degrees. Sunday's forecast, some spotty showers and storms, possible severe weather into the Midwest. Now, coming up, who is looking at the triple-digit temperatures today without even factoring in the heat index plus? Hiding, right, unless you start thinking about all the damage that it can cause, and that is a concern that we do have today about the weather that we will see. Now, Steve and Barnegat, your enthusiasm lasted that entire video of weather. We're going to show you some of the other weather that we will see today, though, and unfortunately, the storms are going to be a little more fierce. So we've got a spot that we got to watch for you right across the middle, or the northern, say, Midwest into the Ohio Valley, all around our big ridge of high pressure. This intense heat continues to anchor the southwest and expands actually today right across the plains. When you get this kind of pattern, actually, this is often when you start to deal with some big storms that roll right along it. The heat is going to be a problem in and of itself. Record heat continues across the southwest, and now records will fall today across portions of the plains. Take a look. Oklahoma City, we're going to 98. That's above average. 101 in Kansas City. We'll come close to record breaking. Tomorrow, we lose a couple of degrees, but we keep it up there. The heat index will be at that century mark or above for a lot of you in places like Paducah and down through Memphis. Take a look at the heat continuing Saturday with 100 degrees in Wichita, 97 in Oklahoma City. There's just no break. I mean, we just keep it going. Southwest as well. I mean, you get a couple of days where it's not quite as intense, but then we're right back up there again next week with the triple-digit temperatures, and in fact above 110 in the southwest. For Oklahoma City, today we're going to 98 degrees. We're going to 98 in Dallas, showing these two cities and the heat index, which actually is going to be 2 degrees lower in Oklahoma City. The reason is the dew point. The dew point actually makes a big difference, and the higher the dew point, the more moisture in the atmosphere, and that moisture really prevents you from cooling when you're outside here. You know, nothing can evaporate off your skin, and you don't get that natural evaporation process. So it's going to be a concern. Dew points are in the 60s, and certainly upper 60s and low 70s. That's when the air really feels oppressive, and really your body doesn't have a chance to cool down. We're going to be looking for temperatures and heat indices above the century mark into Wichita and Kansas City today.